Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/AmIwrong, where OP just received a massive slap in the face. Let's begin. She made me wait 4 years for sex but slept with him in a week. Am I wrong to be angry over this? Posted by Reddit user Throwaway Definitely.
I'm kind of having a mental breakdown at the moment, so my words may not make sense. I was in a relationship with my now ex-girlfriend for 5 years. We didn't have sex until we were 4 years, and because she wanted to wait until it felt right. I respected it wholeheartedly. Of course I wanted to, but I loved her more than I wanted to have sex with her, so I waited until she blatantly told me she was ready and dragged me to the bedroom herself. Just in January, she told me she wanted to take a step back from our relationship and said she wasn't in the right mind space to be with me. I was hurt, but she assured me that she loved me and would be with me again when she got her mind right. We remained friends and talked daily. I was excited for the day we could get back together. At the beginning of this month, she started ranting to me about this gross guy in her friend circle who wouldn't stop hitting on her and looking at her body. Called him a fuckboy. I was annoyed and told her to stay away from a weirdo like that. She told me she wouldn't call them a creep, and then a couple of days later she calls me to tell me they just had sex. She was saying she didn't know how it happened. It happened so fast, she couldn't believe she did it, etc., etc. I was shattered but wanted to at least make sure it was consensual, and she said it was, but she wasn't thinking straight. I was shaking all over, nauseous, the 9 yards. She called me while I was headed to take a major test. I somehow managed to take it, but as soon as I was done, I ran outside of the classroom and threw up. She had sent me multiple texts apologizing, saying it meant nothing and that she's just in a bad place. I told her I couldn't speak to her at the moment. What she did hurts, but how she did it hurts most. How could she have done this with a guy she barely knew? Such a creepy one at that. How could she have done this so easily when she took her sweet time with me? I feel disgusted and angry. There's so much rage. A part of me feels guilty about how I feel since I know she didn't owe me sex and owns her own body. I'm not usually anywhere close to a misogynist. But why is this such a slap in the face? I feel like my heart was bitch slapped. Am I wrong? For the many people who asked, I'm 21 and she's 20. We got together at 16 and 15 and lost our virginities to one another. Update. Just as I was going to text her to say goodbye and cut her off, she tells me she doesn't think we should speak anymore because of her terrible mental state. Surprise, surprise, she fucked him again. She claims she did it yet again because she's on a downward spiral, doesn't want to pull me down with her. Said she wants to spare me from a woman as insane as she is, and to live my best life without her. Pretty sure she blocked me. 6 years I've known this girl, 5 years together, all for it to end up like this. I don't know how I'm going to continue with my studies. Edit. Forgot to add that she for some reason felt it was very important to let me know that they used no protection and he, inside of her. No, we used condoms every single time. So that's an extra layer of gut stab on top of knowing she could very well be diseased or pregnant now, completely burning any possibility of us getting back together, not like it was ever a real possibility anyhow. And now, for OP's update. First, I want to thank you all so much for the huge outpour of support. I expected 30 comments at most, especially since I was pretty incoherent. Even though what happened happened, and 80% of you said the same thing, she never loved or desired me and is making shitty excuses. My first instinct was still to try desperately to believe that she just got a mental illness out of nowhere and she wasn't her true self. I wanted so badly to believe that she still loved and wanted me, and this was just some freak accident. Well, I logged into my iCloud account today to find my phone that I misplaced. I saw that her details were already saved because she used my laptop to find hers like 7 months ago. I shouldn't have, but I logged in as her. Something told me to go straight to her notes. There were at least 3 pros and cons list about me. Pros mostly being that I'm sweet, perfect personality, giving, funny, clean. Cons being that I'm short, that my voice isn't deep enough, that I'm feminine, that I lack manly qualities, that I'm not dominant enough. It was extremely distressing. At the end she would say, damn, they're equal again. One of the lists was from 1.5 years ago, before we even had sex. One note, she talked about how she loved me but couldn't stop wondering about other men and if they could make her happier. She'd self-flagellate and talk about how evil she was for feeling this way, but then justify it by saying we've been together too long, and it's normal to be curious. Then the most disgusting note of all, she talked about fantasizing about my own brother. but I don't know if I really want him or if I just want anyone besides OP, she wrote. By this point I had thrown my laptop off the bed and full-blown raged. My poor roommate had to calm me down. Eventually I did, and he bought me ice cream. God bless this dude. Needless to say, she will never hear a word from me again. I don't care if it's mean to say, I truly hope the creep she fucked raw gave her an STD. She hasn't loved me for 1 to 2 years. I broke my back for her. When I didn't have a job, I mowed lawns just so I could take her out, and she let me do it while secretly thinking I wasn't worth her time. I'm going to finish my studies no matter how devastated I am. Maybe go to a club tonight with my friends and get lucky, I don't know. I'm damn sure getting blackout drunk.
Damn, OP. I thought this was wild when I read the first one, and it sounds like you're making the right decision. But don't turn to alcohol if you're going through a difficult time. It will only end badly. OP, I want you to work on yourself, become successful, and live the best imaginable life. And then please write back to us how well you're doing and how your ex really did go down a spiral like she said she was doing in the first post. And I do have my high expectations. I mean, this story sounds so fake. So the next update's title should be, I became an executive for Fortune 500 and she became a fat broke single mother. And now for today's second story. Realizing that the person you loved isn't who you thought they were. Posted by Reddit user Jackson.
Sorry, this is a really long story. Me and my partner have been together for 12.5 years. We had a break, her decision, 9 years ago where we each went on a date with another person, but nothing really came of it, and we ended up getting back together. Just over a year ago I found out that she was messaging a guy that we both used to work with. It was a huge mess, in which she told me that he was sending her sexual messages. He's engaged and has children with his partner, a big gym goer, but also renowned for not being very loyal. She claimed that she never went along with it, told him it was wrong, but didn't stop it because she guessed she liked the attention. When I asked if I could see the messages, she said it was an invasion of her privacy and deleted them all. She continued to message him but said all the sexual stuff had stopped, and that he was going through a bit of a rough time. I eventually forgave her when she said she'd stopped talking to him altogether, although it was tough to trust her, especially because around that time she'd started posting a lot more bikini pictures and attention-seeking stories on Instagram. Things had been going well since then. We decorated our flat and put it on the market, hoping to buy a house and have a baby someday. For as long as we've been together, I've almost always picked her up from work, regardless of the time that she finishes, as she doesn't drive, and I work very early mornings. She's just taken a demotion at work because the workload was too much for her, which I supported. She made a new friend at work who she said is really cool and they have a lot in common, so she was going to walk home with her from now on, which didn't bother me. But her times of getting home were all over the place, and she wouldn't let me know if she was going to want a lift home or not until the last minute, leaving me guessing. She said it was difficult because the friend was going through a bad time at work, and she wanted to be supportive, which I couldn't argue with. We all need support from time to time. One evening over the weekend, we had some of her family over and dropped them home. She was in a major rush to get back home, and said she needed to go to a shop to get a cheese sandwich, which was odd because we had bread and cheese at home. But then she said that it was for the friend and that when we got home, she'd be walking over to her house to drop it off. I offered to take her there to drop it off, but she said she wanted a walk. When we got home, she was panicking because the friend was walking to our flat to pick it up instead, and wanted to come in to use our toilet. She asked me to pretend I was asleep in the bedroom because her friend was awkward around new people. I didn't. I welcomed her into the flat and offered her food or a drink. She wouldn't look me in the eye, said hello, but went straight into the bathroom and straight back out down the stairs. My partner followed her and they stayed out for 2 hours. I didn't question it. They were friends and she seemed like she needed help. A week goes by of my partner walking home from work every day, and it is getting later and later, also bearing in mind that the weather was awful every day that week. There was a day where she asked me to pick her up soon, so I headed to her workplace where I waited for 20 minutes before the caretaker of the grounds asked me why I was there, and that he was locking the car park now. I phoned my partner asking if she was still at work, and she said she'd started walking. But it turned out that she was further from work than the combined time it would have taken for me to get there and wait for her. She said that the friend said she was leaving work, so she walked with her. It came to the end of her work week and she came home soaked and acting strange, saying that she'd had a really weird day, but she didn't want to talk about it. I asked if it was about work, and she said no. I asked her if something was going on, and she said not exactly. Then halfway through dinner the truth came out. My partner had told her friend that she really likes her, and they'd kissed. I asked her if it was a mistake, or did she wanted to do it, and she said she didn't know, but she liked it. Over a weekend of many arguments, and her telling me that she doesn't know what she wants, she tells me time and time again that she doesn't want to lose me, and suggested the possibility of an open relationship, which just isn't for me, then tells me she has strong feelings for her and wants to do it again, but will stop if it means we can't be together anymore. I'm distraught, and don't know what to do with myself, considering self-harm, and try to spend time with family. I didn't want to tell them anything out of embarrassment and that my nieces were there, so I put on a brave face, until my partner sends my mom a message to check if I'm alright, making everyone question what was going on. So I left and turned my phone off to stop hearing from her for a while. I went for a drive and ended up going to the cinema, in which time she'd messaged a load of my friends, which meant I also had to explain things to them. I barely slept on the sofa that night. I couldn't stop overthinking. The following day was my day off from work. She messages me in the morning saying that she'll come straight home from work to talk things over. I went to my dad's house to talk to him about what's going on and get some advice. He says I can stay there anytime I need to. I'd put on laundry before I went to dad's, so I had to go home to sort it out. He doesn't live too far from where my partner works, so I drive past it and happen to see my partner with her friend walking along. I circle back around and can no longer see them, so I went home and text her saying that I thought she'd planned to come straight home to talk. Then she doesn't message back for over an hour, and when she does it's one-word messages, eventually after another hour, saying that she's on her way home. I walk along to try to find her, which means that if she was actually walking home at that point we'd meet in the middle somewhere, but when I finally find her, she's near to where she'd told me the friend lives. She confesses that she had to see her again, and to kiss again to see if it's actually what she wants. She says that's all that she wants with her, and it would never go further. It's only kissing. It feels nice. I can't cope with it, so I stay at my dad's. She messages me throughout the evening, saying that she still wants me and that reality has suddenly hit her, and to see her the next day after work, and to pick her up so that I can see she's not with her. I'm a mess, but I do as she asks. I suggest couples therapy, and we end up arguing. She says she doesn't think she's trusted me since we had the break 9 years ago and has never felt the same, which is why she doesn't think it's so bad doing things behind my back, even though it was her decision to break up and she went on a date as well. She still wants to see the girl after saying she'd broken it off with her. She says that they've actually agreed to not see each other until next week. She doesn't think our relationship is fixable. She's also told me that she keeps asking to see me because she feels so guilty and she's worried about me, but it's messing with my emotions. And then she'll keep telling me that she loves me. Last thing, the girl has told her that she loves her, but she says she won't say it back. Update 1. She asked me to come back and that she wanted to sort things out. She was cuddling me and apologizing, saying she wouldn't see her again, but that she had meetings after work. One of the users on here said I should wait outside her work and see if she's true to her word. I waited. She'd already left. I found them together. Update 2. This is the hardest thing. Plans to have a baby, sell our apartment and buy a house. I'm having trouble believing that she'd do this to me, that the person that I loved and thought loved me didn't really feel that way, is happy to throw away 12 years of a relationship. Seems unaffected emotionally. It would be easier for her if I just didn't want her after this. She's said as much. She wants me to just be angry and leave, but I'm hurting. Really bad. I know I should leave, but it's like this isn't the same person. I don't know her.
Wow, no wonder she has no respect for you. You're pathetic, OP. Look, man, just serve her the divorce papers. Let her have her so-called happiness. I can tell that this shit show will not end well and cause misery for your wife. Just get out of the way as soon as you can and work on your own happiness. OP, it's time to grow a spine. Otherwise, you will forever be this weak and laughable man. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.